All right, I'm back. YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. All right, real quick. If no one's told you today that they love you, for what it's worth, I love you. And I care about what happens to you. Okay? I really do. All right, so enough of that. Let's move on. All right, let's just tie up some loose ends here. I want you all, I need you all to understand the importance and the significance of what Gypsy did that night and how this all ties in. Okay? I feel a calling. I feel a strong calling that I have to do this whole thing, and get the truth of this out, what's going on in the world around us, and uncover all this shit and try to expose it to as many people as possible. Which means I have to explain it right. I have to make it believable. Right? I mean, if my cause is to get the truth out there and get you guys to help me spread it around, I have to make it plausible. And show you, because I take things for granted. That's why I'm beating this stuff in your head. I'm sorry, but I have to show you. Just like that last video, the defilement rituals. The reason why Gypsy's getting, because of that house. If this would have went right and she would have off Nick too, like she was supposed to, that's what's the plan. She would have got that house right away. They would have never told her to move. They would have maybe done a crime scene sweep. But look, they were so sloppy. They may like told her, "Oh, just walk over the things," and who knows. But she would have had that house, okay? Anyway, you guys, first of all, let's talk about this. She was supposed to off Nick that night, guys, as evidenced by only the one bus ticket. And I'm telling you guys, David Blanchard set this up, and that was her go-to person. She was getting instructions and help and aid and everything from him. He's the one that told her that. And I'm sure, because she wasn't going anywhere on a bus. Her plan was run to go to the Blanchards or them to come her or whatever, and then they were going to call the police and say, "Oh, man, he went crazy and I had to kill my boyfriend in self-defense." You know the deal. A couple videos back, okay? And then she would have been the poor little girl, but fought him off, the little hero, but, She would have got that house. She wasn't planning on going anywhere and hiding. I'm sure David Blanchard just told you, look, you got to buy him at least the one return bus ticket so he doesn't get any ideas. That's what that was about. They just had to spend a little bit of money. It's no big deal. Okay? But she didn't buy her one. Okay? And some other things. Mailing the knife back. All these things that ended up having to happen was just weird. Okay? That's all contrived and set up. And I'm certain that David Blanchard was the one instructing her to do all that crazy type shit. The Facebook post. So they would get there whenever or whatever that was about. Remember? That was a fake bullshit. And then they asked her why she did that. She goes, "Because I knew they'd find her. I wanted to make sure Mama had a proper burial." Okay. She just not too long ago slit her throat. And that's the reason her mother's in that situation and needs a burial or a cremation to begin with. And she knows that because she did it. And she said something so ridiculous. When everyone knows she could give two one-eyed Alabama flying squirrel fucks about her mother's burial situation. Okay? So she has this house to offer that's already in the deal. And they know what she can do with that, with all those sheds and all that. And as her initiation, that's on film, she gave up her own mother, biological mother, and she took it at her hand and slit her throat from ear to ear, and then assisted in draining her blood, and then drank of the cup of the blood of the sacrifice of her very own mother. You guys, that doesn't happen that often like that. A lot of times people will sacrifice their mother. That's a good one, but it'll be at someone else's hand. I mean, you can pay someone to do it. You can manipulate someone to do it. You can force someone to do it. Just, you have to get it done. But there's an extra little special something to when they do it with their own hand. And let's not forget the torture ritual that she provided as well for them, all filmed. A lot of people love to see the torture rituals, guys. Torturing your own mother while she's screaming out, laying on her stomach, and she's got a picture of something that she's copying on her back that she can later make a trophy of on her own back. But that's a whole nother video. That's another video. But that's what that was. Something was laid out for her to sit there and copy that on her mother's back with husky box cutters and other tools. Okay, so do you understand what she did? And then she mutilated her own mother's genitals with forks, regular utensil forks that you have in your fucking drawer in your kitchen, and probably some other things. That's what I heard of just that. Her and Ace Bannister, aka Brian Rogers, boasting of it. So she did a torture ritual of her own mother, carved the trophy thing on her back, mutilated her genitals, and drank of her blood. Okay, and then it was supposed to be a double whammy supreme and be her boyfriend too. It's supposed to be, oh, my boyfriend of 2 years that I love so much. I'm giving him up too. And then, do you understand all the things that she did, accomplished here? Of course, that didn't go down, that part, but if it would, what I'm saying, if it would have, if she would have got that double whammy in like that, because it's lose something, gain something. The more dear it is to you, the more you're willing to give up, the more you're going to lose. It's better what you get, guys. It makes perfect sense. So what I'm telling you is, in a bad way, doing your mother with your own hand like that and then drinking her blood, that is, it doesn't get much better than that. The mother that birthed you, that you grew inside of, doesn't get much better than that, guys. Okay? And then the work she was going to do with that house, she would have been a boss bitch, actually. But somehow she fucked it up and went off to prison. But then they protected her because a deal is a deal. But it appears when she got out of prison, weren't they on running around on OMTV and all these places? Looks like she's trying to get in the fucking back in the field anyway. I'm sure they'll probably set her up right nice here pretty quick somewhere doing that. That's her forte. Okay, so there's that. So understand, she didn't just. It wasn't just because I thought too. Why when I first heard, why that dumb bitch? What are you talking about? Well, once you learn the deal, she had a lot to offer, and it makes perfect sense. Anything with the children makes it go around. She's already in it, doing it. The house is already doing it. It's already in, and she's willing to do all this other shit. Do you understand? This is a perfect situation, textbook what they do, and get you into it like that when you're already doing it. Right? Offer them the world. That's exactly what that is. It's nothing else. Okay? Now, I want to talk about some other things when I got the time, about some other things with the Luciferian and their doctrine and stuff. Okay? Now, if you watch the one on the Illuminati party, okay, a couple of things with that. I told you that they get to the point where there's, before you go in where you got to do what you got to do to the children, you make the oath to them. And they ask you to pull out which sacred text is your Holy Bible, Talmud, Torah, Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Quran, which, you know the deal. Whatever goes with you. And then you put your hand on it, raise your other hand or whatever, and they put some kind of medallion or some silver thing on it. I don't know what that's about. I could look into it. And you say something to the effect of, I bow to no one. I am my own God. And that's one of the tenets of Luciferianism, okay? He has convinced them, Lucifer has convinced them. You take this oath and you do the things. You do the things. And when you die, you will come back as your own God. Okay? Now, keep that thought in your mind. Then I also told you that if you get to that point before you go in the room and you decide you don't want to do the oath, I'm not doing the oath. I'm not swearing on my Bible and say in that, because I believe in God and all that. Then they're going to tell you, then you have to leave. And then you never got to that room and saw what happens. You don't know. And you already signed an NDA at the party that you won't tell anything that you've been seen so far. And they just escort you out. But on the way out, the older people, the guests, are saying something to the effect of, remove the profane or something else, the profane. The price has not been paid. The fee is not acknowledged. Some shit like that, okay? Because we are the profane. George Carlin says it's a big club and we ain't in it. Okay. Any of us that ain't in it with these people, in one way or another, got brought into it, then we are the profane. They are allowed to do whatever they want to us because they're better than us. They're the ones running the world, and we're to work for them, and we're to be slaves for them. That's why to take and do that to our children is nothing. We're lesser than them, and they have this mindset. We are the profane. When again, I've said it 100 times, they're the profane ones. See how they do? Point your fingers and call everyone else what you are, what you're doing. right? They're the propane. They call us the propane, all right? So, that's important. They believe that when they die, they come back as a god, their own god, and they are over slaves that are the propane, spirits and souls of the propane, us. They're over them, and they're slaves and shit. This is what these idiots believe, okay? And then there's another sect of them that believe, they go to hell, but that hell's a party time. This is what they believe. That it's a big thing of just big orgies, having sex with drugs and great music and all that, just having a great time, just party down. This is what they've been convinced of. And when you come to in some other bullshit, well, this is, and Lucifer knows this. Okay, another thing with the defilement rituals. Okay, there's another thing that goes along with that. That's very important. They have been convinced and made to believe that if you sexually abuse and the more innocent the better, the younger the better, the less they've ever been touched by anyone the better, the more innocent and pure the better, and you actually have do it with them, actually, yeah, that doing that to them somehow vampires their soul, or the innocence that's leaving their body as you're doing this to them, you somehow capture it or encompass it or take it over. And if you do it enough, this is what he's told these people, so they do it over and over again, man. He's told them, if you do it enough, if you do it over and over and do it enough, and you capture a little tiny bit of their innocence, and that's part, every time you regain that innocence, and you can reverse your aging and make you younger and make you live forever. Then they believe this shit. They actually believe this shit. So you got women, big time politicians and stuff, with little babies that are drugged, little toddlers, they're drugged. At least they drug them now, I hear, at least. Laying up on altars. It's all formal. And they're poking and prodding them on all their orifices, doing all these things to them with instruments in their hands and their tongues and everything. We're talking big, big politician women, I'm talking about. Big ones. Doing all these sexual things to little kids, got little boys hold genitals in their mouths, the whole thing. Just telling you the truth. And they're doing this in the hopes of capturing their innocence and maybe being a little bit younger. It's not working for Hillary. I'll see you in the next video.